They came in on the west side of the 405.
Yeah, we got to get rid of him.
Yeah, get rid of him. Let's go puncture his tires.
Yeah, exactly. Can't have that much power in the area, you know what I'm saying?
Hey guys, so hey, listen, we're gonna get started right away because I think when we start late, we give people permission to show up late, and that's not.
I agree, Miguel.
All right, so we're recorded live, we're rocking and rolling.
We're here.
Things that I wanted to set up with the group, and then I'll open it up for you guys. Is we got goals, we got things that we're trying to do here in terms of getting our business moving forward. And what we're going to do is I'm going to set up an accountability group. Right now, I have 4 groups set up. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone can see it? Okay, good. So it's a group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. And I just went down to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, one of the things I do know, there's a couple people here that have fallen off the actual call. I think, Rod, I think Carolyn might be out, but I wouldn't worry about that right now. Some groups will have 2, some groups will have 4, etc. And then we can move it around accordingly by the end of the year. And what I want to do is I want to set up some accountability, and we can change this group up every month. We can change it up every quarter. It's up to you guys every other month. It's about, and the problem is we get complacent. We get complacent. So if the group isn't working, we need to mix people up around. And I think it'll give us fresh ideas in terms of what people are doing. So I want to ask the group, do you want to change this group monthly or every other month, quarterly?
Probably every other month, just or quarterly. To once you get kind of a groove going, it helps you build, and then we could take what we learned and move it into the next group.
Yeah, so quarterly sounds good to me, Miguel.
Quarterly, guys?
Quarterly is fine.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Either we do monthly or quarterly, but yeah.
So either monthly, every other month, or quarterly. Every other month will give us 7 to 8 phone calls. Quarterly will get us anywhere from 10 to 12 calls.
You know, let's do quarterly because that way we keep the MFO system moving forward the way we've done it before. Let's keep everything quarterly.
All right, cool, guys. So I'm going to email this to the group. This is what we have for right now. And let's see what's going on. Group 1, we got Alejandra, Brian Haggerty, Eric Cagle. We have Tedora's probably going to get moved out of that because that's with Lenny. Ray, you're in that group, and Russ. Lenny, are you still doing this with Tedora, or is she participating in it?
Great question. No, I think you should have her as an individual in there.
Okay.
By the way, she will follow through. She will be part of this.
Okay, so part of that would be if she is going to be showing up on the call or not, because part of participating in the group, and this is for all of us, right? I'm going to have to talk to Alejandra. I don't know if she's on this call, but she's my buyer's agent.
I'm here.
Oh, cool. So anybody who has a team member, aside from staff, like Kara's helping me out here, but anybody who has a team member in here, they're going to be signed. And I would recommend putting them in a different group than the team lead, or just to give a different perspective and different type of accountability. And there's no sliming in there. Okay. So I'll leave Teodora there for now.
Yeah. Hey, Miguel, just to chirp in. So all of a sudden we kind of have a conflict call. She's on another call that goes 11 to 12, but I'll ask her when we are off later if she wants to do this or if the other thing is movable. So I'll get back to you and Cara to whether or not she's going to be officially in or not.
Outstanding, man. That's good. Okay. So again, what Lenny's saying is if he's going to have somebody in the group, in somebody's group, he wants them to be committed 100%, not only on the group, but in the phone calls. All right. And that should be the standard that we all have. So we got Alejandra, Brian, Eric, Rod. I need you to get Eric on the phone or on the group call, or if he's here, I don't see the full screen, but you can talk to him about it. Ray and Russ, Teodora, Ray and Russ. So that's a pretty good group right there. Brian's a fucking stud. And there's a bunch of great people in that group 1 as well. Okay. I have group 2. We got Fred and Melissa, I'm going to split up. Rebecca, I don't know if Rebecca's in the group, and then Tyrone. I might mix that group around a little bit because Fred and Tyrone work in the same office, but more or less you guys have the ideas what's shaking out here. Group 3, Christina, Miguel, Roxanne, Kathy, and Greta. I'm going to mix group 2 and 3 up a little bit. And then group 4, Corey, Joe, Rod, Mitch, and Lenny. That's a powerful pack.
Wow.
We have incredible people on this call. All right. Some have been around for a while. Some of them have been in the business for 5 to 10 years and are excited. Some are new in the business. All of that works really well in each group. Okay. So we have to take advantage of people that I don't know that have great ideas, people that have been around for a while that can share ideas. We're pulling each other in, we're pushing each other, and we're pushing each other forward. We get pulled, we push. We get pulled and we push. All right. So that's what the ideal of this group is. All right.
Eric and the whole family is sick. That's why he's not here.
Okay. All right. So that's that, and that'll be our group. Are you guys okay with setting up accountability in the next 90 days?
Yeah, what is the accountability going to entail, Miguel?
Okay, so boom, let's go.
Why don't we, hey, Eric, Miguel, why don't we just start with January, the groups?
Well, yeah, this is
then we'll be on a quarter
set up. We're not going to just start January. This is
Okay.
so you guys can start connecting now, start getting things and habits in place. And here's where I'm going with this, Rod. You shared, where is it? Nope. Rod shared this idea with me, and it's actually going to be what I call the mission statement. And I don't know if this qualifies or not, but I'm giving myself an A. I'm giving Rod an A. And what he shared was this: we will make $1 million if we build the database. That's very broad in perspective, but we've had enough classes and Zoom meetings to understand what that means. And I'll show you that on the next page. If we build the database, we email the database, we mail the database, we text the database, we get reviews from the database, we have events for the database, and we call the database. If we build this and keep working on this now, this month, next month, and for the remainder of next year, guys, we're going to make more money than we've ever thought was possible. And we're actually going to kick ourselves in the butt to say, why haven't we been doing this? Okay.
I agree.
I like it.
You're a great example of why I haven't done this. And again, we can't look back because we only have today and move forward. And I love, Rod, what you put together here. This is 100% came from Rod. Okay. The next thing here, guys, is this spreadsheet that I put out. Okay. Now I can give you all, you guys have access to this. You can copy it on Google Drive. You can tweak out the plan and commitments on the left-hand column here. Do you guys see my mouse moving?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this right here could all be tweaked out. In fact, I tweaked mine out a little bit from the original one I sent to. And what I'm doing is I kind of laid out a 12-month plan. Now, Mike Ferry, and we've been taught that our business plan is a moving document. So I just set out the roadmap in terms of where I want to end up, right? And look at this. So I'm just going to go over the first line, and it says I have about 1,400 database calls. My goal is to consistently hit those 2.5 times. Now, you might say, gosh, well, Mike says 4 times. Guys, I want to be realistic in what I'm going to do and make that the minimum standard. Because once I hit 2.5 times, I'm probably going to end up hitting them the 3rd time or the 4th time. And what 2.5 time means is some of them will get 3 calls, some of them will get 2 calls. But my goal is to bring that up to 3 to 3.5 to 4 over the next 36 months. But if I look at the total number of contacts, I may look at the far right here, 2,352 contacts. All right. Some of our goals is to hit 4,500 contacts for a year. Some of it is 35. You guys know your numbers and you know what you really have done. So if I look at my numbers, this is probably about 80%, and this is on a slow year, 80% to 2,352 contacts just from my database is actually probably 80 to 90% of the total contacts I've made over the last couple of years, which means I got to level up and step up the number of contacts that I make throughout the year on a quarterly basis, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but if we break it down, 2.5 times per quarter or per year gives me 2,352 contacts, right? And then I'll have my A list here, which will get 32 calls, which I'll call 2 times a quarter. Some of them are calling them once a month. Guys, work this plan in a way that you're going to work it. I'm not Fred.
Yes.
I'm not Rebecca. I'm not Carolyn. I'm not Rod. And I'm not Mike Ferry. And I'm not Neil Weichel. I am Miguel Sola. I'm not, you know what I'm saying, guys?
I will help them.
Set it up for you. All right.
All right.
And my mini plan that I shared with you guys is, let me see. My long-term goal, guys, and this is something that we can talk about. I want somebody else to present here as well, is my long-term goal is to do a 36-month. I've never done a 36-month plan. I've never done a 36-month plan. All right. And the total goal here is to get 170 transaction deals from my database by December 31st, 2025. That gives me 36 months. That means I want 36 deals from this group next year. It's probably going to be more like 40. The following year is 54 transactions. And the following year is 81 deals by December 21st. That amounts, all those three add up to 170 deals. That's just from the database. So I got to get to freaking work to make that happen. And that's why we have this group set up. And what I have to do for me is get in a rhythm of doing 4.72 deals from this group, from my database, over the next 36 months. All right. And that'll equate to 65% of my business. All right. The short-term action plan here is what we've been talking about for the entire, since July. And that action plan is, okay, here it is. It's broken down. 2.5 to 3.5 contacts by 2025. 5,000 calls per year, 24 contacts a day. This is the plan right here to get me to 170 transactions over the next 36 months. So it's kind of something I have to really focus on daily. Now I got to clean this up. Okay. I got to clean it up, and I will. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. And then I'm going to put this on a Mike Ferry, my 4-page Mike Ferry plan. Very general, but the next couple pages will have this attached to it, which will be my detailed plan moving forward. AAA clients, my Hall of Fame clients. I really like the way Neil Weichel specified that. I'm going to purify my database from 1,000 to 1,500. Now, 1,400 people that I have in there, it's not all pure, guys. I found out who I was sending my Christmas card to, who I didn't have my addresses to, what phone numbers, who the heck was this? And so I have to clean up about 475 people of those 1,425. So my goal is to purify this database to 1,000 starting some point by Q1, Q2 next year. And by 2025, December, have that up to 50. I'm talking pure gold, no crap in there, right? C grade, A grade, etc. We're going to be adopting the other agents' clients. We're going to be using HomeBot, right? We're going to be, that cost me $900 a year. I don't know why I put that in there. Events, we got to do events. And that's why I wanted to set up the accountability group so that we can talk about putting events together, and we'll share that over the next couple of calls. Doing CMAs. Tammy Cicerella had a beautiful idea, whoever made the call last week. And if you haven't, listen to that conversation. Down to earth, simple lady making a shitload of money. All right. Text combo calls using our CRMs. We've talked about our CRMs. Where are we going to level up? Where are you going to level up with your group moving forward in your accountability group? Are we all talk or we action? Right? Birthday, emails, text, staff, kids, sports, events, halftime buzzer beater. Man, who's the first one? I'll pay $100 whoever does the first buzzer time beater for halftime. And basketball season is going on right now. And I'm going to try to beat you to the punch. So anyway, this is the idea that we have of things moving forward. Okay. And I just kind of want to bring you guys in on that. And it's right there, guys. The plan is right there. Break it down and then work your Q1 and then see what adjustments you have to make. What adjustments do I need to make in Q2? What adjustments do I have to make in Q3? And let's all make a ton of money this year. All right.
Miguel, are you going to send us the revised version? You said you made some changes.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I made this specifically for me. I added the 5 right here, the past clients in the data in the sphere of influence. I added this group here. So I just broke it down for me. You guys can call it whatever you want. And so you'll be able to modify that. Just make a copy of it on Google Docs. If you don't know how to do it, Kara or I would be happy to help you out with that. And we can put one in your box, in your folder, inside the shared group. Who on this call here, and be honest, I mean, this is all about transparency. Who's not really familiar with Google Drive?
Roxanne.
Lenny, okay. So
Kathy.
Google,
Roxanne.
who you're not.
I'm not.
I'm
Okay.
only 88% familiar. That's it.
Okay, so Roxanne, what works for you? Is it a Word document that you can edit?
I don't know. My sisters do all of that stuff.
Okay, so who here doesn't use Google Drive at all? Not count. If your assistant uses it, that counts. So who just isn't familiar with it?
Not much.
Okay.
I know it, but I don't really use it.
All right.
And I use it.
Okay, so would you prefer a Word document that you can edit?
Yes.
A Word, Microsoft Office?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Kara, can we put that, copy and paste that? Appreciate you. Thank you. Guys, also,
Same here. Yes.
who? What, where, when?
You
All
broke
right,
up,
guys.
Kathy. You broke up, Kathy.
So is there any, Kathy, fire away.
The what?
All right, Kathy was saying something, but it's all good.
Are we talking about Google Docs?
Yeah, so what we're gonna
Oh,
do is we're
I'm
gonna send out the
sorry.
group a Word document as well.
Oh,
Okay.
nothing.
She's breaking up.
Okay, so we're gonna send out a Word document so you can use that Microsoft Word. And for you Apple users, I think maybe over the next 36 months, I might switch to Apple. So until then, you're stuck with what I got. But everyone should know Google Drive. It's actually really powerful platform to share things, okay? And I didn't know there was half the group didn't use Google Docs. So we wanna make this work for everybody, okay? All right, so that's what I wanted to share. And does anybody, I know I sent the email late, does anybody want to share any screen share on their goals or anything at all? Or just let's all have open forum. Either one is fine with me.
Well, just to kick it in, Miguel, I want to say thanks, man. This stuff is kick-ass. I actually put that sheet on my wall for next year, and I'm filling them in slowly but surely, but we'll get there. But this stuff is great. I want to shout out to you today because all this stuff you've done over the last 5 months has been amazing.
I agree.
Cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thanks, Miguel.
Cool, guys. Yeah. And so once you start, thank you, Mitch and gang. And
I want to propose something too.
please, Christina, fire away.
To me, I know it's about the goals and the business goals and everything, but also personally, I always write a vision letter with my husband together. And that is being very powerful for us because we put together our goals as a couple, as where things we want to do, like places we want to visit, homes we want to buy, investments we want to do together. And I think it's very powerful. I encourage you guys to do a vision letter with your wife or husband or whoever you have. I think it's really, really powerful. And it bonds you guys in another level too.
Outstanding. And what a great point, Christina, guys. If we don't get other people involved in what we're doing, then what happens when Miguel isn't motivated or I'm going through shit and I just can't get out of it and I lose 3 weeks in my mind, right? Or 3 weeks of time or whatever, right? I mean, it could be a day, it could be 3 days. Hopefully it's not 3 weeks, but you get my point, right? And so if we don't get our staff, if we don't get our spouses, significant other people involved, then
You grow in different directions.
Yeah.
And Miguel, I got something to add to the group. I think it has some value where we are right now at the end of the year, right? We're now in month 12 of our year. So I am involved in another mastermind group, and I actually hosted yesterday's call. Then we host every 2 weeks, we switch. So I wrote my plan for yesterday's call to my group, and it turned into be one of the most lively conversations we had. Let me read you guys the 4 questions I asked everybody. I think it stimulates your thought, and it's in line with what we're talking about. Number 1, what in 2022 did you do better than 2021? And will you continue to leverage this into 2023? Question number 2, what in 2022 had you committed to and did not fulfill your YOUR capitalized expectations? Number 3, if you had to boil it down to one thing in 2023 that is absolutely mandatory that you do or upgrade or step up to, build the skill in order for you to achieve your 2023 business plan, what would that be? And then number 4, and this was the one that everybody went nuts on, honestly, what do you need to focus on for you in 2023? Be honest, be transparent, be real. And I'll tell you, it was an amazing discussion yesterday. So I can send those 4 questions out. I just wanted to share that because the call yesterday was the best one that we've been in for a while.
I love it, man. If you could share that, that would be great.
I wrote it down, Lenny.
Yeah.
Cool.
Guys, the number one problem, and I listened to this this YouTube thing, and I forget this guy, and I think his name is Garrett White. And the problem is, guys, is we're all lie to ourselves. Mike Ferry says, if you really want to know yourself, get naked and stand in front of a mirror, because that's a shot of reality. And then if the biggest thing, and it just doesn't look from a physical standpoint, that means so much more than what that actually, if don't get a visual, but but that means so much more, guys, is we are afraid to look at reality. And that's why I say these are not, my goals are not yours or Christina's or Kara's or Lenny's. We got to be freaking real, right? We got to stop the bullshit and lying to yourselves of things that sound good because they sound good on paper, but it's a goal we really don't freaking believe in, right? And so when we set up our, Lenny, that's such a thought-provoking questions, man. I appreciate you bringing that up, because when we really sit down and we're honest with each other, I think we end up making progress. And then we can hey, gosh, Lenny, I'm struggling with the same crap you are. Or, Lenny, you and I have had some really good conversations, and I appreciate you and just supported me in some things that, some challenges. And that's what we need each other for, man, because I have a hard time accepting a certain type of reality, but then Lenny can bring it up, or Christina says, hey, write this letter, share it with your significant other, et cetera. So that is why I set up this accountability group, guys. And
Miguel, if I could add,
drive off of it.
Miguel, if I can add one thing to kind of piggyback on what Mitch said, which I think is so appropriate. Kudos out to you, brother. You've been doing an amazing job. But I got to tell you, the thing that turns me on about this immediate group is looking at I'm just looking at the faces. I see people excited, right? They're ready. They're committed. And I'll tell you, I've been trying to search for a group like this that's truly that excited about what we're doing. And so I applaud everybody on this. I'm honored to be part of this group right now. It's awesome.
I'm pumped up, guys. And thank you, Lenny. Fred, how you doing, buddy?
Healthy and happy, man.
Good. We're getting Fred's business off the ground. As all of us are getting our business off the grounds. Ray, what's up, buddy? What do you want to share? Got a couple minutes, guys.
Yeah. It's been an interesting year, to say the least. And reaching out to my database, to my clients, even those that I didn't want to talk to, wasn't that easy, especially over Thanksgiving. I got that, I see husband and wife. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna call the husband, not the wife. Yeah. You know what? This time around, I didn't care. I dialed one and I dialed the other. Hoping that they would not sit next to each other. Remember, Miguel, we had this conversation. Yeah. But you know what? I didn't want to overthink it. I said, screw it. I'm gonna call. Thankfully, they were not closed. And 2 of them, the husband, at one point, I did a couple transactions. One of those clients that you don't want to call, but you have to call. We did a transaction together. I sold him a property, bought him another property, and the third property, he didn't give it to me. It turns out that the seller got a little bit jealous. So, so it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So I had to bring my wife to the appointment the next time because the seller was getting some kind of weird ideas. So he didn't give me the third deal, gave it to somebody else. So I stopped calling him. I'm sorry, I stopped calling her, the wife, I was only calling him out of respect. But this time I said, screw it. I'm gonna call everyone. And I felt great because I talked to him and I talked to her. And it was just a simple, hey, this is Ray, just calling to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys are doing great. Just know that I'm here to help you with any real estate, mortgage financing needs that you may have. Reach out whenever, you know. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate you. That was it.
Yeah.
Two things, guys, out of that call. Great job, Ray. Two things I want you to listen to. Ray and everyone on this call, including myself, each past client that you have is worth 2 phone calls. In most cases, they're married. So there's him and her, right? If you have 200 past clients, there's approximately 350 to 400 contacts right there that you need to make. So 1 past client doesn't mean 1 contact. That adds for 2. Secondly, is 50%, and I think in Orange County is 70%, but 50% across the United States, there's a divorce going to happen. And so you always want to be even keel with both husband and wife. This is a business. We're running it the same. No one gets special treatment. There's no way we can really favor one person over the other. So just stay in connection with both of them. And I know most of the people on this call do. I just listed a property where I made the mistake. I was only contacted with her. He didn't want to listen with me. I actually won him over on a phone call. He's like, oh yeah, Miguel, blah, blah, blah. So I just listed an $850,000 property, which goes up for sale next week. And so the point that I learned there is always make sure you're making contacts of both sides. Hell or high water. If one got mad, one was happy, whatever it is. Good job, Ray. And Ray, you built up confidence. You built up confidence.
Yes, one more thing. And you know, there's a couple clients that I've been calling back and forth. They don't answer the phone. I know it goes through because steal their name, steal their number, everything. So again, I'm taking courage of contacting everyone. It doesn't matter until they tell me physically, do not call me again, I will stop. In fact, even if they send me a text that says, don't call me again, I'm going to call until I get him on the phone, until I have a physical, and they have to tell me physically, verbally, don't call me again. And even if that's a past client or anyone. So that's my approach to my past clients that I fear. And now that's also my approach to anyone that I prospect. You have to physically reject me.
And that's
for me to say bye-bye.
That's
a question
anyway,
for the group.
That's it.
How many people? I started sending out emails through my database and, you know, through MailChimp. And what's interesting is I have some people unsubscribe. And these are people that I thought, you know, appreciated me and liked me, but maybe they just, who knows what they're doing at the time that they unsubscribe. Hey, I don't want to need this. They're going through a bad time or whatever. So I'm just asking the group, how often do you get unsubscribers from your database? And if you do, how many do you get?
Oh man, I wish I could show
all
you.
The time.
I have
Okay, so right. I'm in good shape. And to piggyback off what you said about calls, I call my past clients, and you know, I took a listing back in September where they had gotten my messages for 7 years in a row and no response. They don't even know if they listened to my messages. But when it was time to list, they called and said, we got your messages. And when I sent the pre-listing package out, they had it signed when I arrived, the no-minute listing presentation. But there was somebody that Neil had interviewed that really made sense, as opposed to the Mike Ferry, you know, hey, this is a business call. You got a minute for me? They all know what we do, especially if they're past clients. And most of our spheres know what we do in detail. So I just changed it up a little bit and started calling everybody and saying, hey, it's Fred. You know, I was in your neighborhood. I'm just thinking about you. Thought I'd give you a ring and say hello. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And if I don't catch up with you before the end of the year, have a Merry Christmas. And I'll be sure to reach out to you in 2023. Just keeping it real.
Yep. Hey, Fred, you should add this is your realtor. I just wanted to call it in your neighborhood and thinking, always say this is your realtor.
Embedded command, Roxanne. I love it.
Yeah, Fred, I'm going to agree with Roxanne big time. You know, a lot of times we get nervous about calls, which thank you for sharing that, Ray, because everybody does, and I do, and it's so common with everybody. We got to make sure we don't get around the fact that we're calling to ask for business. Because if you don't ask for business, you ain't going to get business.
Yeah, I was going to chirp in, by the way. I didn't want to interrupt what the great thing that Fred was saying. But, you know, one thing is that Theodore and I have been doing, as Mitch and a few others know, I'm real involved with the community and all that. But I wanted to, I had a conversation with Theodore last night, Mitch, and actually the reason I'm asking is I would like to have you maybe in one of these calls kind of take us through some processes asking for business with your business contacts in your networking group. because one of the things I noticed with Theodora is that she's going to meet other ladies for coffee that are basically business networking. And I'm asking, well, how are you having a discussion about, will they be willing to call you, right, when they know somebody who's going to buy, sell, or invest? And she's not really good at it. And I said, you've got to narrow that down. You got to make it a business element, right?
You just can't be attached to the outcome, right, Lay?
That's right. And so I think that would be a great thing to hone our skills on a little bit, because I do think 2023, Miguel, is about nurturing that database. And then also what Sydney Fullen told us this week, which is really true, right? How many people, when they need a realtor, how many people don't hire the first person they meet? They almost always hire the first person they meet. So we should be nurturing our database and then still opening up those new doors, right?
100%.
Well, you know, somebody said really early on, Miguel, I forget who brought it up in one of these meetings. I've just loved it all. Is that your job as a realtor is to take care of your sphere and put new people in your sphere. Yeah. So if you're doing just listed, just sold, if you're doing expires for sale by owners, whatever you do to get business, all you're doing is finding new people for your sphere. That's what you should always be doing. That's the thought, right?
Good point.
Hey, Lenny, when sometimes when there's people unsubscribe, it's because if you do any mass emails out, they just don't want them. Doesn't mean they don't want to hear from you. So what I do is they unsubscribe, and like you said, I thought, well, that's weird. You know, like, so I just want to call and let you, this is your realtor, Roxanne. I just called to check in, let you, I was thinking about you, have any questions or whatever my just for that particular time. And I said, I noticed you don't want me to mail you any more emails. I said, because you get so many of them, and they laugh. They said, yes. So I said, we just don't want any more. And I said, well, that's fine, but it doesn't mean they don't want to talk to you. So please remember that.
I want to be Roxanne. That's all I have to say.
Huh?
You know,
absolutely.
I want to be Roxanne. That's all I have to say.
You know, Roxanne, thanks for bringing that up. And Fred, about the emails, I actually have a list. I have a list of unsubscribed emails, which I started calling them just to make sure that they actually unsubscribe. You know, and again, reaching out with respect, and then of course popping that question at the end on the unsubscribe. Hey, I noticed you unsubscribed to my emails. Was that a mistake? And then of course let them speak. And Roxanne, thank you for bringing that up. That helps.
But don't do it that way. Say, I noticed you unsubscribed. I know she unsubscribed. Is that because you're getting too many emails? Because
make it fun.
When you say it the other way, you're kind of like giving them a reason that they don't want to tell. So just say they say, oh yeah, I get too many. Okay, then that's what it is. Just let it go. Remember NLP.
Yeah. Remember, email is only one form of the way we're reaching out to them. Everybody has different forms that they like. So, you know, just because they unsubscribe from an email or don't pick up a phone call, doesn't mean that they won't answer to a text. We got to remember, we're just hitting them from all sources, everybody, all sources.
Yeah. On the money, brother. That was a great point, bro. Thank you. Very good point. All right, guys. I'm good if you're good. Anybody else want to say their piece before we jump into next week? I think it's, did we have 2 calls? Kara, I forgot what I put on the calendar. Do we have next week? Do we have 2 more calls? How many? Okay, let's ask the group. Who wants to do 2 more calls?
Well,
I'm good.
Some of us are going to be in Anaheim, right?
Oh,
that'll take us to the
Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be gone on that Thursday, the 15th.
Yeah, we're going to be in Anaheim. That's right, in the 14th.
So we got one more call.
All right, guys. Next week, guys, 1 more call. My recommendation is to you, and I'm going to send this group out. I've been mixing people around here on the group. And my recommendation is you guys start connecting and start sharing business plans together and start getting inspired. Rod McIntosh calls me, texts me all the time. He was at 40-something contacts, then 50-something, then ends up with 74. He wants to hit 100-day contact from one time from now to December. This guy's lighting me up because that's what we do. We challenge each other. We're all competitive. We all want to do better. Play the freaking game. Get involved. Don't just be a fly on the wall.
We got to have fun.
Yeah.
Hey, some of you guys, if you have extra Christmas cards left over, one thing I did in trying to build my database was I sent instant messages to friends I had on Facebook that I don't have your home address. I want to include you in our holiday mailing. please text or instant message me your address. And I probably sent out 40 of those, and I probably got 10 or 15 addresses back. But it's the beginning of making connections with people that I have either not ever thought about or have ignored. And when I look back, I go, the biggest mistake I made was not when the kids turned 18, 19, 20, not mailing and contacting them separately from the parents. And I got away with that when there was no social media, because the parents would call me and say, hey, Timmy's looking for a house. But now Timmy has his own connection with all of his age group. And some of those people have licenses, even though they're not going to get great service. So I've reached out to a lot of my kids' friends that are now in their 30s, okay? Some of them don't own homes or they don't own homes, or they own homes in my area. And I'm not going to assume that they were happy with the agent that they purchased it with, okay? So my message was, hey, I want to include you in my holiday cards. What is your address? And right. I got a lot of them back. So I suggest that, I mean, social media, we know, number one, it ain't going away. And number two, it's not where we can build a really powerful, high producing business, but it is absolutely a tool. And I think I missed the boat by ignoring it for 10 years. And I didn't start working on it.
You're fine, brother. You're good. And that's a good point. And that's why that checklist, guys, that we have, alter it, mix it around, share it with the group. Rod, thank you for sharing with me and just staying connected with what you're doing, because you've inspired me. Guys, reach out to each other, support each other, lift each other up, build each other up, encourage one another, and we're all going to make a shitload of money. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right.
I'm good with that.
All right, guys. There's a lot to talk about. We'll talk next week. Anybody want any recommendations that I can do to make our call moving better, or not better, but just bringing it up a notch? In 2023, I'm humble. I don't care. I'll take rejection. Whatever the frick, if I talk too much, let me know. Whatever it is, let's get moving forward. Love you guys. And we'll talk next week.
Fine tune the accountability.